Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
For decades, driver ed has, you know, hammered home the importance of controlling the space in front of you, following distance, looking ahead, all that.
Right. It's all forward focused.
But today, we are spinning the defensive driving manual around 180 degrees to focus on something that's deeply overlooked, but, well, it's just essential, controlling the space behind your vehicle.
It's that invisible safety bubble.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally intuitive to focus on the threat you can see, which is the road ahead.
Of course.
But if you fail to manage that rear space, you become instantly vulnerable. You're not just dealing with, some aggressive tailgater.
It's more than annoyance.
Oh, much more.
Yeah.
You become the single point of failure that can trigger a really devastating chain reaction crash.
And that's the core insight we're digging into today.
Yeah.
So our mission for this deep dive is to move past just don't let people tailgate me and really understand the specific proactive strategies you can use to create and reliably maintain that buffer zone behind you.
Exactly. And it's a defensive strategy that counterintuitively often starts with what you do up front.
Right. And what's so fascinating is how this just transforms driving from this reactive thing, dodging danger, to a systemic practice. It's not just about lowering your stress, it's about improving the functional safety of the entire stretch of road you're on.
You said it, the whole system.
So let's start with the why. You mentioned systemic safety. Can we break down why this rear gap is so critical? Because I think most people assume if they stop safely, that's it, job done.
Yeah, and that assumption is wrong because it completely ignores the other driver. The foundational element is giving the driver behind you crucial reaction time.
Reaction time.
The average human reaction time is, about 3/4 of a second to a full second? If they are right on your bumper, they have zero margin for error if you brake hard.
So that gap is literally time.
It translates directly into time for them to see your brake lights, process it, move their foot, and actually start braking.
And that leads right to the physics of it, the safe braking distance.
Exactly. If they are glued to your car, it doesn't matter how good their brakes are. Inertia is going to win. They simply cannot stop if you have to make a sudden stop.
And the consequences just multiply from there, right, in heavy traffic.
Oh, absolutely. Having that gap behind you is what prevents a chain reaction accident. If you get hit from behind, you're going to get pushed into the car in front of you, which pushes into the next one, and so on.
The domino effect.
But if that space behind you is managed, your accident, if it happens, it acts as the final shock absorber. The crash stops with you, not 5 cars down the road.
I found the connection you made to traffic flow really insightful. How does managing that rear gap help prevent those phantom jams we all get stuck in?
It's the slinky effect, or what traffic engineers call traffic oscillation. When drivers are too close, any little thing, a slight tap of the brakes, a moment of distraction, it triggers a sharp, abrupt stop. That sharp stop forces the next driver to panic brake, and that signal gets exaggerated as it travels backward. That huge ripple of braking is precisely where congestion and those phantom jams come from.
So by me keeping a steady gap, I'm forcing my actions to be smoother, which then sends that smoothness backward, and it kind of stabilizes the whole line.
That's the key. You're modulating the pressure. You are encouraging steady, smooth driving. And on a personal level, it just minimizes aggression. If the driver behind you has space, you feel less pressure, which means you drive more confidently.
And confidence is safety, especially when something unexpected happens.
It absolutely is. I mean, think about it. Debris on the road, a huge pothole you need to swerve around. That proper rear gap is your room for evasive action.
It's your escape route.
You can adjust your position without that immediate fear of being run over from behind. That little bit of space buys you the fraction of a second you need.
And you also brought up how different vehicles need different considerations. It's not one size fits all.
Correct. If you're in a big SUV or, pulling a trailer, you need way more distance to stop. It's just mass. That rear gap is essential for the driver behind you to accommodate your slower stop.
And on the flip side?
On the flip side, if you're a motorcyclist, that gap is life and death. A sudden stop could cause a catastrophic loss of control. So that gap is truly a universal safety feature.
Okay, so the why is established.
Right.
It's vital. Now let's get practical. Diagnosis. How do we actually accurately spot a tailgater? Because sometimes you just feel it, but we need something more reliable.
It all starts with making your mirror checks a conscious habit. You have to be regularly monitoring your rear view and your side mirrors. The easiest visual cue is just scale.
Scale.
If the car behind you looks big, if it's filling up most of your rear view mirror, they are almost certainly too close. They're just consuming your whole field of view.
So it's not about counting feet. It's about how much of the mirror they take up.
Exactly. And there's a fantastic trick for nighttime driving that's even more clear. If you cannot see the headlights of the vehicle behind you in your rear view mirror, they are so close that their vehicle's body is actually blocking the light beam.
Wow. So you're basically just looking at their grill at that point.
You're staring right at their grill. That is extreme tailgating.
But the undisputed gold standard metric for this is still the 3-second rule, right? We should probably explain this clearly.
It's the absolute baseline for defensive driving. To do it, you pick a fixed point on the side of the road, a sign, a tree, whatever. As the back of your car passes that point, you start counting.
And you have to count properly, right? Not just 1, 2, 3.
Yes, that's key. The standard is 1001, 1002, 1003. That cadence is designed to approximate 3 real seconds.
And that's the minimum time an average driver needs to perceive, react, and start braking in good conditions.
Precisely. So if the front of their car passes that fixed point before you finish saying 1003, they are critically too close.
And you have to adjust for bad weather. That's the biggest caveat.
The single most crucial adjustment. 3 seconds is for perfect, dry roads. In rain, fog, snow. You have to increase that to 4, 5, even 6 seconds. Poor conditions demand double the distance. That should be your rule.
We also have to watch for behaviors, not just distance. Intent matters.
Oh, absolutely. Look for erratic driving, frequent lane changes, little bursts of speed, and then braking. That's impatience. And then, of course, the obvious aggressive stuff, flashing high beams, honking. Recognizing those signs is the first step to diffusing it.
Okay, that's the diagnosis. Now for the really cool part. Here's where it gets really interesting. The active strategies to increase that gap and diffuse the tension. We're looking for non-confrontational tactical moves.
This is defensive driving as chess. You cannot control the driver behind you,
Right.
but you can 100% control the space ahead of you. And this is the primary defensive move.
So you're saying if someone's on my tail, I should immediately increase the distance to the car in front of me, build a bigger cushion up ahead.
You are creating an escape route for yourself. That bigger buffer gives you way more time to see what's happening ahead and slow down gradually.
So it reduces my need for sudden panic braking.
Which is the exact moment the tailgater is most likely to hit you. You're basically building a runway for them to stop, even if they're driving like an idiot.
Okay, so what if they're relentless? That's where gradual deceleration comes in, right? Managing their expectation without provoking them.
Exactly. If you need to encourage them to pass, you slow down gently, almost, so they don't notice, by just easing off the accelerator. Don't tap the brake.
Okay.
This gentle change encourages them to either back off or, on a multi-lane road, just decide to go around you. Sudden braking is an aggressive act. You want to avoid that at all costs.
What about signaling? I really like the idea of using the brake lights just as communication.
It's a great technique. It's the visual cue before the action. You lightly tap the brake pedal just enough to flash the brake lights, but without actually slowing the car down much.
It's like a little passive message. Hey, I see you.
It says, I see you, and I might be braking soon. It usually gets them to check their distance and back off a bit. And in really extreme situations, like sudden fog, you can briefly flash your hazards to signal a general danger, not a personal thing.
And we have to talk about the stopping maneuver. This feels like the most advanced technique.
It is, but it's brilliant. When you're coming to a stop, like at a red light, you initially stop, leaving a much bigger gap than normal between you and the car ahead.
So I stop like a full car length back, way more than I usually would. Why?
That big initial gap is a cushion. It's for when the car behind you finally stops. Once you see in your mirror that they've safely stopped and aren't going to hit you,
Then what?
then you slowly creep forward into that gap you left. This little subtle adjustment after they've stopped is much less noticeable. They're less likely to jump forward and close the gap you just made.
That is brilliant. It uses time and subtlety. Of course, the simplest solution, if you can, is just escaping the lane.
Absolutely. If you're on a multi-lane road, just safely move to the right and let them go. On a single-lane road, find a designated turnout or a wide shoulder and pull over. A moment of courtesy can just eliminate the whole danger.
We've focused on what we can do, but let's look at the psychology. Why do people tailgate? I feel like understanding that helps you react better.
It helps you not take it personally, which is huge for keeping your own frustration down. They really fall into a few clear categories. First, you just have the purely impatient or rushing drivers.
They think it'll make traffic move faster.
Yeah, they genuinely believe driving closer will somehow speed things up. It's all about their schedule.
Then you have the more toxic group.
That's the aggression and road rage cohort. They're using their car to express frustration, to dominate, to intimidate. This is the most dangerous group, and they require zero engagement.
But sometimes it's not malicious at all. It's just bad driving.
Exactly. It could just be a lack of awareness or skill, an inexperienced driver who just doesn't understand stopping distances. Or, and this is probably the most common now,
Distraction.
They're on their phone, messing with the radio, looking at GPS, and they just do not realize how close they are until it's too late.
So let's say we've tried everything. We've created the front gap, we've slowed down gently, and this driver is still aggressively on our tail. What's the hard line?
The absolute non-negotiable rule is do not engage.
At all.
Avoid aggressive responses at all costs. That means no brake checking, which is illegal and incredibly dangerous. No angry eye contact in the mirror, no rude gestures. Engaging just escalates road rage and puts everyone in more danger.
So our priority is just being predictable.
Yes. Prioritize safe driving. Maintain a steady speed, use smooth, predictable movements, don't let them pressure you into speeding or making a risky lane change. Their impatience is not your emergency.
And in those rare, really threatening situations, when they're being truly violent or trying to box you in,
Then your safety overrides everything. If you can do it safely, try to note the license plate and car description. But your move should be to drive immediately to a safe, well-lit, populated area.
like a police station.
A police station, a busy gas station, a hospital entrance. Go there and call for help if you need to. Never, ever pull over to a dark, isolated spot.
Okay, let's turn to how technology is trying to help with this. It feels like a safety net, but it works on the rear gap pretty subtly.
That's right. The tech mostly helps your awareness and regulates the front gap, which then indirectly secures the rear. So you have your basic stuff like rear view cameras and backup sensors, simple proximity alerts.
And the ones that help while we're moving.
Rear cross traffic alert is fantastic. It's for reversing, but it gives you a broader awareness of what's approaching your rear corners. And critically, blind spot monitoring helps you avoid making an unsafe lane change that could start a tailgating situation by cutting someone off.
And shifting to automation, how does something like adaptive cruise control help the driver behind us?
Oh, adaptive cruise control, or ACC, is the ultimate stability tool. It automatically keeps a safe distance to the car ahead. Because it's so smooth and consistent, it pretty much eliminates your need for sudden manual braking.
So it stabilizes the flow for everyone.
It manages the front gap so effectively that the rear gap almost self-regulates. The car behind you just has a much easier time.
And then there are the actual collision mitigation systems.
Right. Forward collision warning and automatic emergency braking, AEB. These are your final line of defense. By preventing or at least lessening a front-end crash, they dramatically reduce the risk of a chain reaction from behind. If you don't slam into the car ahead, the tailgater has a much better shot at not slamming into you.
And we can't forget the impartial witness, the technology of accountability.
Dash cams, especially the ones with rear-facing cameras, they provide irrefutable video evidence. In a crash, it just takes the he said, she said right out of the equation.
So what does this all mean?
I think what we've unpacked today shows that controlling the space behind you is a fundamentally proactive defensive strategy. It relies less on tech to fix the problem and more on calm, consistent driving and really focusing on that buffer zone ahead of you.
It's the ultimate defensive chess move. Controlling your own reaction time to dictate the safety of the driver who isn't controlling theirs.
Precisely. And this leads us to the final, really provocative thought here. It kind of pushes the limits of this whole mindset.
Okay.
Imagine an extreme, unavoidable scenario. You're stopped at a red light. You look in your rearview mirror and you see a huge tractor trailer coming up at highway speed. And it's clearly not slowing down.
That's the nightmare scenario. What do you do?
The ultimate defensive strategy is survival. The sources suggest that if it is safe to do so, meaning no cross traffic, no pedestrians in the way, your priority is to create an escape route by moving forward.
Even if it means, what, running the red light?
Even if it means breaking the law by entering that intersection. Your life and avoiding that catastrophic collision takes precedence over a traffic violation.
Wow. That flips the rules completely on their head.
It highlights that your ultimate goal is to maintain control and maximize distance, even if it means crossing a solid line. You have to consider the moral and practical implications of choosing the lesser of two very, very bad options to ensure survival.
A terrifying choice.
It is, but it underscores why managing that rear space and having the foresight to always know your escape routes is the ultimate defensive skill. Something to mull over as you build your own buffer zone on the drive home.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.